Welcome back to What's Next with Lacey, the podcast where I interview young professionals about their career journey so far. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to What's Next. I am so happy to be here. If you're new here, thank you for finding us. I hope that we can live up to whoever shared this podcast with you, the expectations that they might have set. If you are someone who did share this podcast with someone, thank you. Thank you for sharing What's Next. That is what we need to succeed. And I hope you shared this podcast because you found some use in it. You found some helpful tips and you want others to share in the glory of all the helpful advice that we get from my guests. But yes, if you're new here, welcome. This is the podcast where I interview various different people and we explore all sorts of jobs, various different paths and ways to navigate your career. We get into the nitty-gritty and it's great. It's just a fun, fab time. But this week, and every so often, it's just you and me. And I am going solo. Eek! I'm recording this on the last day of summer, and I have to say, fall is my absolute favorite time of the year. It's my favorite season. I love the candles. My apartment is constantly smelling wonderfully. The cozy jumpers, the boots, the coats. My true obsession in life, which I've realized recently, is coats. I probably own more coats than like anything else in my closet. And honestly, I truly wouldn't have it any other way. It's just the best. Coats go with everything. But yes, I love fall. And the reason why I love fall the most is because it feels like a fresh start, a reset. You've had the summer, you've had the chance to chill, and now it's time to, as the youths say these days, lock in. And so that's what I feel like the fall is, a reset, a new year before the new year. Some might say, I might say. And that makes it the perfect time to think about what's next for us and our career, whether it's a side project or a side hustle or building our networks to advance and figure out what's next in our career. And that's what I want to dive into today. We've talked a lot on this podcast about networking. I know that every single one of my guests has talked about the importance of networking. So today, we're not just going to talk about the what, but I want to talk about the how, because networking isn't just about collecting business cards. Isn't just this like thing that only some people have and some people can crack into, but it's about taking advantage of who is around you, of the resources you have. It's about building real connections and using those connections to actually change what comes next for you. So I'm excited to dive in and discuss all things networking. Now, I have crowned myself the self-appointed queen of networking, not because I'm the best, truly. Definitely not. Always room to improve, for sure. There are some people who are definitely better than me, but genuinely because I love it. I love networking. And people can be like, what? Why? It's so hard. It takes so much effort and it's awkward and all of this. And yes, it is all of those things. But I think networking genuinely needs to be reframed. I think it needs to be reframed from this idea that you are just going out there to secure the job, to secure the internship or the interview or whatever it may be. And it's viewed as like a transactional thing versus just like a chance to, at the base level, meet new people, get to know new people, learn what they do, see what their path has been like, just like I do on this podcast. This podcast is literally networking 101. This is how I view networking. Just getting to know people and learn from their stories. I mean, why wouldn't we take advantage of the resources that have been developed, the LinkedIn, the Glassdoor, the Reddits, all of this that have been created to help us? And why wouldn't we want to learn from the people around us? We are surrounded by such wonderful, amazing people, and so why wouldn't we want to just take advantage and learn from those people who are in our lives already? And that is networking. That is exactly what networking is. Think about it. We ask our friends for recommendations for clothes. We ask for restaurants, whatever. Why wouldn't we also get the recommendations on their careers? Why not? why not be curious about what they're doing? And why not be curious about the strangers? We turn to influencers about their recommendations. So why can't we turn to someone on LinkedIn and get their advice as well? So I think networking just gets a bad rap. And that is why I love it, because genuinely you are just getting to know people and talking to people. And I love doing that. But yes, it is also incredibly important, and it can get you that interview. It can get you that job for sure. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Networking has been a very big driver in my own career. As I've mentioned on this podcast before, every single job I've had has come through networking. One of my favorite stories that I always like to tell is that through networking, simply through networking, I managed to land one of the coolest internships I've had at The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. And yes, we can have our ways and feels about Jimmy Fallon, but the experience in and of itself was awesome. And so that experience taught me how powerful even just one single connection can be. I'll dive into the full story in a bit, but stay tuned, because we are going to not just talk about all the benefits of networking, but talk about how we can actively use our network right after this break. Okay, so why does networking actually matter? Let's break it down. Firstly, opportunities. Most jobs, collaborations, introductions come through people, not job boards. I personally have a whole thing with regards to job boards, but a story for another time. Honestly, with the way that AI is filtering resumes, AI is making fake jobs, companies are leaving jobs up for far longer than they actually exist. It's often more reliable to hear about an opportunity directly from a person, without a doubt. Let's go back to that story I was telling you before the break. The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. I got through one connection. Listen to this. From my sister's friend's co-worker, I met with him to talk about his experience in the industry, in his career path. Didn't want exactly to do what he was doing at that time, but thought I would just have a chat anyway. He had friends who worked at The Tonight Show. I went into that coffee chat not having any expectation about anything. I didn't even know internships at The Tonight Show actually existed. And he was the one who brought it up. He was like, you should consider this opportunity. Let me pass along your resume. And that's exactly what he did. I had an interview and I got that internship. There was fundamentally no expectation, but because of my sister's friend's coworker's friend, I got an internship. How insane is that? So yes, it is always important to network, because you never know what opportunities are going to come out of the woodwork. It's a baseline. So number one, opportunities. Next, support. Your network can become one of your support systems. Yes, you've got your friends and your family, and that's a network in and of itself, but your network, the people who you've done a coffee chat with, caught drinks with, or Zoomed with maybe once, twice, you see each other every 6 months, once a year, whatever that may be. They are a support system in and of itself. You are going to face tough times in your career. It's kind of certain. So they're the ones who can give you impartial and practical advice about your specific industry. They can share their experiences or simply remind you that you're not alone. Maybe they also got laid off. When I got laid off last year, it was those people that helped me feel even more supported. I got laid off and I knew, because I had that network to fall back on, that I was going to be okay. People always ask me, how did I stay sane during this time? It's because I had put in the work to make sure that I would be okay. And so I got laid off. I had no qualms about reaching out saying, hi, this happened to me. Can we have a chat? I'd love to learn more. I'd love to just get your advice, whatever it may be. But because I'd established that connection, and yes, don't worry, I built more connections through the same way. We'll get to that. But because I had established that connection, it was already such a level of support that existed by the time I got laid off, and I could utilize when I needed it. Growth. You can learn so much from your network. I mean, this podcast is literally proof. Almost every single guest has taught me something new. Whether they're in my field or not, I have learned something from every single guest I've spoken to on this podcast. Honestly, it has probably made me even more confused about what I want to do with my life, because every path just seems so exciting and so attainable. But again, a problem for a future Lacey. Let's just focus on the network for now. But yeah, you can grow and learn so much from the people that you chat to. As all these self-help people, career coach people say, if you're jealous of someone's job, of someone's path or responsibilities, whatever it may be, follow it. That's a sign that you want to do that too. Follow their path. They've clearly been successful, so follow it. I mean, how else would I know how to do a podcast if I didn't look to someone that I admired and said, that is the way to do it. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do on my podcast. So growth and can come from so many different ways, and networking is one of the most tried and true ways that you will be able to learn what to do next, learn what you might want to do next, try something new, think about something new, get new ideas, that kind of things. And then finally, future proofing. This is a big one, and I kind of alluded to it before, but your network future proofs anything that comes down the line. As I said, they are a support system I felt existed because I'd put in the work. So yes, at the start, now is the time to build that network while you are feeling like you are in a secure place, while you are in a job that you're okay with, that you have a paycheck coming in, while you're in a secure place. That is when you should be networking, so that when something does happen, you are set. Everything is okay. You never know when a connection might come in handy, and the best time to nurture that network is always now. Always. So that is what we can get from our network. That is the benefits. I know we've talked about it a ton of times, but I cannot stress it enough how useful networking is. Now let's get practical. We've talked about the big things. We've talked about why it's important, but let's talk about the how. How do you build your network? How do you grow your network? How do you even start building a network? And these are some tips that I came up with because, like I said, self-appointed queen of networking, that I have used to help you start building your network today. Firstly, start where you are. Reconnect with the people you already know. Friends, colleagues, classmates. When people think of networking, they think of like starting from scratch. No one's in my network. No one knows what I do. No one knows anything. Yes, they do. Your immediate circle knows you, knows what you're doing, has connections, has lives of their own. So start there. I started by talking to my sister's friend. As I told you, I talked to my sister's friend, who then talked to her coworker, and so on and so forth. And that is genuinely how most of my network was established. My sister's friends, my own friends, my classmates, internships were passed down. That's a form of networking, so on and so forth. You start where you are and see what resources you can gain from the people around you. Again, they do not need to be in your industry for them to be helpful. The second tip I'd have is be curious. When you meet someone new, lead with genuine interest. Don't make it just about what you can get. A lot of people say, networking is so transactional. I have nothing to offer. Your curiosity is something to offer. Yes, networking can be transactional, but it doesn't have to be transactional. Truly, be there to learn and get answers to the questions that you want answered. Don't make it what you can get. So what I always say on LinkedIn, if I'm reaching out with a cold message, this is the message that I send. And LinkedIn has, those character limits if you're not already connected to the person or whatever. So this is what I say. Hi, X. I came across your profile while researching X industry. I'd love to hear about your experiences. If they say yes, that's usually all you can fit. If they say yes, hi, so great to connect with you. As I mentioned, I came across your profile while researching this industry. I'd love to get on a Zoom, phone call, grab a coffee to learn more about your experiences, as I'm really interested in this path. People love to talk about themselves. Love to. Why do you think I started a podcast? So I can fundamentally talk about myself. It's really no other reason. Anyway, people love to talk about themselves. So invite them to do so. Don't be pushy, just be human. And don't immediately be like, I want this. I will say there are times when I have done that. Caveat. There are some times that I have made it simply transactional. I've seen that an alum works at the company. I am on a time limit and I go, hi, X, I am looking at this job. Would you mind passing along my resume? That is a separate story. You can then do drinks afterwards if something happens, if it doesn't, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes, yes, there is a way to make it a little bit more transactional. But I always try to start with genuine curiosity. Number 3, add value. Networking is 1000% a two-way street. Yes, I said it isn't necessarily transactional, but it is a two-way street. You can benefit them, even if you don't think so, as much as they benefit you. Even if you are just starting out in building out your network, you can always be encouraging. You can always share resources. Hi, yes, I'm unemployed right now, but like if you know anyone who's unemployed, or if you're also unemployed, why not join this network that I'm always also a part of? That is something that makes it a two-way street. Or you can connect people with each other. Wow, you mentioned you're really interested in this. Actually, a friend of mine is also really interested in this. Would you want to chat? I would love to set that up. Two-way street. I always end every conversation with, if I can ever be of help to you, please let me know. Now, yes, sometimes that is just not possible. Sometimes you manage to snag a coffee with a senior person in your industry. What are you going to offer them? They're employed, they're doing great, they're higher up, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's not going to happen, but even still, I'm always saying, I so appreciate it. If there's anything I can do, please let me know, because you never know. And you want to show that you are not just using them, that it is, like I said, that two-way street. Number 4, be consistent. Be consistent, be consistent, be consistent. That goes for multiple different things. Firstly, in terms of building your network, attend events, be bold, pass along your email, ask people to coffee, join communities. I am in so many different communities where people are just posting stuff on Discord, on Substack, on Slack, so many different communities. Stay active in those communities. Again, don't just be like waiting till someone posts and be like, great, can I grab you? Be a contributor as well. You never know when a connection will appear. You could even be like, I don't know, out on the dance floor at a club. Could find a connection. Could be like, what do you do? What do you do? I work in this. Great. Let's have a chat when we're a little bit more sober. Anyway, that you truly never know where a connection might come from. Also be consistent in terms of following up, which leads me to my last and final tip, which is follow up and nurture. Don't disappear after the first chat for 95% of the time. If you guys just aren't vibing, there was nothing really there. You guys are in 2 different industries and you were connected and by someone else and yada, yada, yada. Maybe there just isn't room for another one. Fine. You've got them on your list. You've made your connection. They'll be there if you ever need it. Fine. For those, you don't necessarily need to follow up and nurture. But for those who, you just genuinely vibed with and had a great conversation, always follow up. See them every 6 months. B, if they were really, really helpful, keep tabs on what they're up to. Keep tabs on what they're up to. Make sure you update them on what they're up to and that kind of thing. Send a quick check-in. Congratulate them on milestones. Invite them for coffee. Relationships always grow when you're consistent with them. So definitely don't disappear after the first chat. If you have a random Saturday, just reach out to someone. Say, hey, we haven't spoken in a while. Want to grab coffee? And you can chat about whatever is on your mind. Again, be consistent and do it at a time when you are feeling secure so that you are future-proofing your time, like I said earlier. So those are my tips for the how, for where to start, how to grow, how to stay active with your network. If I'm missing anything, if there are any top tips that you've used, please reach out. If you found this episode helpful so far, share it. Share it with someone who also would find this helpful. I would really appreciate it. After break, let's talk about getting over some fears and what to do when it's just, a little bit awkward. There's a lot of awkwardness when it comes to networking. There's a lot of fears, a lot of tougher aspects of networking for sure. So I've gathered some things that I've heard from people on why they can't network, and we're going to bust those myths, bust those fears, I should say, right now. Okay, I'm too shy. I get that a lot. I'm too shy. I don't really like meeting new people. I am happy. I don't need it. That kind of thing. Networking doesn't have to be a performance. You are simply getting to know someone. You don't need to impress them to the best of your ability. It's not interview. You don't necessarily need to get something from them at that time. So just be yourself. And if you are shy, great. Be yourself in that way. Or what I always suggest is, again, start small. Maybe you have a friend who's in an industry you're interested in, but you've never actually had a chance to talk about their career. Set aside some time. You're already comfortable with them. You just want to ask them some questions. So set aside some time, start there, build up that confidence to be able to do the same with someone else. You're not doing it in front of anyone else. You are not doing it for anyone else. It is truly just to benefit you. So be yourself and it will always work out. It feels fake. Yes, I've heard that a lot. I get it. But here's the truth. Everyone is networking. And the more authentic you are, the more true to yourself, the more natural it feels. I mean, like I said, it can start off with just friendships. That is an authentic way to network. Or maybe you really are just vibing with the person. Some of my closest friendships have started with what was like networking. I was just chatting to them. But now they're some of my closest friends. So there are ways to make it feel more authentic. And like I said, it doesn't have to be transactional. You're just being curious. So it's like going on a date. You're curious about the person, except there's just a little bit of a different expectation at the end. But it's just the same way. You're just meeting a new person. There doesn't need to be anything that comes from it. It can just be fun to meet new people. And that's not fake at all. Everyone has to meet new people. That's how you make friends. That's how you find your person. So on and so forth. So, done. Doesn't feel fake. I don't know anyone. I have also heard that so much. I don't know where to start. I don't know anyone. I can't offer anything. Blah, blah, blah. Perfect. That's totally fine. Then this episode is really for you or for your friend who also says that they don't know anyone. Everyone starts at zero. Everyone. The key is just be bold. Know that it's important. Take that step. Take that risk. Ask for just one conversation to start with. And there, you've built your network. One person. And then you can go from there. I always end every conversation that I have with someone. Do you know anyone else I can talk to? Multiple reasons for that. A, always good to get someone else's perspective. But B, do you know someone else I can talk to? Means that takes out the needing to find someone, knowing anyone, and the awkward, cold message to them. There, one person has led to 4 people, has led to 5 people, and it goes from there. Everyone starts from zero. Before you know it, one connection can turn into many, many, many connections. And you can keep going back. Maybe they've met someone new in their recent job switch. Hey, yeah, I'm still interested in this. Do you know anyone? Actually, yeah, Joe from blah, blah. I'd love to set you guys up for a coffee chat. So again, everyone starts from zero. It is not an excuse to say you don't know anyone. Ask one person, a friend, a family member, send that cold message on LinkedIn, whatever it may be. Just start with one person and it can blossom from there. This was a long rant. This was a lot of advice thrown at you, but let's make it a little bit real. I've never done this before on a What's Next episode. Who knows what will come from it, but I want to challenge you guys. If you're listening to this episode, then you probably want to do something to build your network or help yourself. So I'm challenging you to take a step, to take one small step and let me know about it. Message me on Instagram at What's Next with Lacey. Send me a text, message me on Spotify, whatever it may be. But I challenge you to take one small step to build your network. Maybe that's message someone you admire, someone you already know. Maybe that's reconnect with an old colleague. Maybe that is send one message on LinkedIn, someone's profile who you've been stalking for a bit. Send that message. Hey, I came across your profile. I'd love to chat. Or go to an event. Maybe you saw that there's like girls' night in sports event. Go to it. Even if you're going alone, go to it. So one small thing. I'm calling it the one connection challenge. One connection challenge. Just made that up on the spot. Don't know if we'll keep it, but okay. Just one step, one conversation, one message. And like I said, if you do it, make sure you message me so I can sing your praises when I know that you've done it. All right. That's me for this week. I love these solo episodes. I always struggle to think of something to say, but then when I start recording them, I feel like I have a lot to say. And so whether you like it or not, friends, there'll be more. But before I let you go, just some closing thoughts about networking. Networking isn't just about the literal what's next, the literal job interview, the literal resume pass along, whatever it may be. It's about what's next in terms of a new idea, a new thought of a direction to take in your career, a new career path entirely. It's about making a new friend. It's about helping a friend. It's about so many different things. It's about showing up for each other and sharing what we know to help each other succeed. So make sure you take that step. Make sure you build your network. I promise, it will come in handy. And final plug, if this episode was helpful, please share it with a friend who could use some networking encouragement. It really, really does help the show grow. Or if it's not this episode, but you really enjoyed that episode with my database marketing friend, Natalie, share that one instead. Just share any episode to anyone who you think might find it helpful. I'd love to hear your best networking story. So send me a message, connect with me, leave a comment, and make sure to share your story. All right, till next time, I'll see you back here on What's Next with Lacey.